And hello everybody, my name is NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, rambling idiot, and vigil. And before we get started, spoilers for this video. This is a video that's a bit on the longer side, a bit more freeform, less editing, but you know my videos kind of go like this anyway, but this is a bit on the longer side for this episode, so I just want to let you know I will go into the short version of this video and then the long version, which is the discussion part. So, spoilers ahead, and I really hope you guys listen to this video and what I have to say and what these other people are trying to say as well about the game, talking about the critics. So we will take everything here with a grain of salt, and in the end we will all have a better understanding of where these critics are coming from and where I'm coming from with my opinion on, well, how I feel about what the critics are saying. Try to go into further detail if I can. Now, like I said, a discussion. Okay, we're all here just to talk about one of the best games ever made, best JRPGs ever made, in my opinion, and that is Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition. Okay, which releases tomorrow, less than a day, on April 7th, 2022, for the Switch, the Xbox, the PlayStation, and PC. So this is a title that's been released on all consoles, all platforms. So I'm pretty excited about that. We should all be excited as well that this thing is even real, and it is a great time to be a Chrono fan, a Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger fan, because it's about time that Square Enix finally releases this game. Whether it's a faithful remaster, a lazy port, whatever you want to call it, the fact is that it's out there. It's out there. It's out there. Can't stress that enough. So this video is pretty much talking about what the critics are saying about Chrono Cross. The reviews pretty much released, I would say. I found out about what they were saying about like a handful of critics yesterday. I was just looking through my phone. I was like, oh crap, there's actually reviews for this game. What are they saying? And let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, that they all, from the 4 that I read, we'll see here on this article from Nintendo Everything, they did a roundup of what each critic has to say in the conclusional statements. And from the 4 that I've read before I even saw this roundup thing existing, they pretty much all said the same thing. Okay, and we'll actually go into that. I'm going with Nintendo Everything's bullet point list of the pros and cons, because that's pretty much the overview and how all these critics feel about this game. Now, like I said, spoilers ahead. I'm not trying to ruin everybody's experience. I'm just trying to give you the cold hard facts, or the truth, or whatever you want to call it, right? Just a deeper analysis. So, what did Nintendo say for the pros and cons for the game? They said, the joys, most accessible way to play both games, remastered backgrounds impress, sped up battles and skippable encounters make archaic systems digestible, Yoshinori Mitsuda's music never disappoints. That is the pros. Now, the cons. Remastered features aren't customizable. Like I said, we'll dive into this all. A lack of remastered features in key areas. All screen resolution options feel inadequate. Sometimes runs sluggishly. Okay, so now you have a idea of where these critics are coming from, because Nintendo Everything pretty much is on lines in terms, or whatever, closely relates to the other ones. Now, what I'm going to do is read each conclusional statement that these reviewers have made. Okay, 5 conclusional reviews to go through. Now, like I said, not all of them are bad, not all of them are amazing, but maybe more in the CB plus area, but let's get to it. So this is from Siliconera. Chrono Cross is an RPG that transcends time and space, unfolding across 2 interlinked parallel worlds. With over 40 party members to meet, people and dimensions will intertwine in this epic drama about the planet itself. Chrono Cross has always been an essential JRPG, and the Radical Dreamers Edition remaster makes it feel even more important. So you can already tell that's a very on the surface, not diving too deep into the game. Sounded like they had their nostalgia glasses on the entire time, but hey, that's what they said, 10 out of 10. Now we go to Destructoid, saying it was alright, rewarding it a 6 out of 10. And it goes, and really, that's all you need to know. It's a PlayStation-era Square RPG. Can you still stand to play Final Fantasy IX and Parasite Eve? Oh, I know I can. Then Chrono Cross is worth your time, and here's an okay way to play it. Is that era too antiquated for you? Then this remaster has no chance of changing your mind. Regardless of what you think of the game or genre, it's not a very loving or respectful port, and Chrono Cross deserves better. Okay, RPG Site gave it a 7 out of 10. Chrono Cross The Radical Dreamers Edition is a wonderful remaster marred by an unoptimized Switch port. While you could argue that they could have gone further in places, like maybe offering players the ability to further customize which parts of the experience they wanted to be presented with old or new graphics, it feels nice that one of my favorite PS1 era JRPGs got so much love. I adore both of the games in this collection from the bottom of my heart, and I'm glad they're more accessible than ever. I hope the Switch version can be easier recommendation in the future, especially since the only way to own it physically seems to be on that platform. Okay. Alright, Push Square. Now here, these last two are going to be the hardballers. Push Square gave it a 4 out of 10. Parts of Chrono Cross really haven't aged well, but it's still a charming, characterful JRPG that evokes feelings of the genre's golden age on PS1. It's a game that deserves better than the Radical Dreamers Edition, which, at least at launch, is a dreadfully poor remastered. Crippled by frame rate issues, it's beggars relief that a title from '99 could run this badly on modern hardware. Unless you're desperate for the nostalgia, we strongly recommend waiting to see whether Square Enix releases a patch to improve the package on PS4 and PS5 before buying. Okay, and last but not least, this is from WCCF Tech, giving it a 4.5 out of 10. The crippled frame rates, which remain a constantly fluctuating 15 to 20 FPS in battles, are only exacerbated by providing players with the ability to slow down and fast forward gameplay without having to finish the game first. In another time, another place, perhaps Chrono Cross The Radical Dreamers Edition would be more critically revered this second time around, but I can find little reason to recommend this particular bundle over the PlayStation 1 release based on the core game alone. Jeez, talk about a guy who's too busy swallowing sour grapes, I guess. Okay, so that is the roundup for the reviews, okay? That's the short version. The video's over if you want to leave right now. That's pretty much what people have said. Now we're going to be going to the discussion part where I try to explain the best of my abilities on what they're really talking about. And I could be beating a dead horse. It's pretty straightforward, but think of it as the long version of this article. Okay, so like I said, they're talking about optimization issues. They're talking about frame rates. They're talking about how there needs to be, I don't know, more love, more respectful way to treat this franchise. Now, I'll give Square Enix this. This is a weird compliment, and I don't really want to, but at least they're staying consistent on, you know, lazy, not so heartful remasters coming out, right? They have been doing strange remasters for many years and re-releases that haven't really been sitting well with fans, and remakes and remasters alike. So here we are, April 6th, and Chrono Cross is coming out tomorrow. You know, the year's 2022, and it seems to me that Square is not doing what they could do for this game, from what I've gathered. Now, like I said in the beginning here, I'm just happy that this is coming out. To me, the pros are just being able to play Chrono Cross again on current gen consoles with a remastered look, which honestly, my opinion, I've done videos on it, on the comparison shots, and I like them more than I didn't like them. Some of them were a bit questionable, but hey, you know, you get a bunch of the greats that came back to work on this, the composers, the artists, the writers, or whoever you want to call back on this, who gave it more life. They put new music, new artwork, and, you know, blah, 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 right? And then we get the Radical Dreamers game, which has never been released outside of Japan, or at least in the States. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Which is great, and I think it's well worth the $20 package. And I'm a guy who's played the remasters of Final Fantasy VII, the remake of Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy IX, and I understand that they could have done a hell of a lot better with those games. I mean, you look at Final Fantasy IX, and the backgrounds are so muddled and low quality when all the character models have been cleaned up. It looks terrible, right? It looks just a blurry mess. But I still love the game, and I'm just glad I was able to play it on the Switch, blah, blah, blah. It's not like I'm going with blind, rose-tinted glasses on. I can just look past that. Maybe some people can't. So anyway, now we're going to get to the joy. I know, I'm just rambling here, but you know, this is the long version. So we're going to talk about, in deeper detail, the joys and cons of this, okay? This is going to be the meat segment, believe it or not. And there will be timestamps in the beginning, don't worry, of you skipping. I probably should have said that earlier, but whatever. We're doing this on the fly here. So, This is from the Nintendo Everything review, and I shall bring that up for you. There you go. So, joys and cons. Okay, so joys, most accessible way to play both games. Yes, it's great. This is the best time to play these games, in my opinion, because especially this is Nintendo, the Switch. I love playing RPGs on the Switch handheld and on the big screen. I don't know about you guys, but it's just amazing because we never got a chance to experience these games on the handheld, like Chrono Trigger. Well, you know, the DS version, right? But, you know, not like on the Switch or the PSP or whatever, right? Chrono Cross has never been on any other console really besides the PlayStation 1, and now we get to experience it in your hands and all that. And on PC and Xbox, for crying out loud, Chrono Cross on Xbox, what? And then on the PlayStation. So that to me right there is a great big plus, is the accessibility. So I'm happy about that. Now, these, and Nintendo Everything liked the remastered backgrounds. They liked it. One review I read did not like it. I think that was Kotaku. I think it was them. I mean, who wants to listen to those guys anyway? But I had to get more sources. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the roundup reviews that we read. They talked about how they didn't like the background. So you guys will have to let me know for sure if you liked it or not. I didn't seem disappointed at all from what I saw in the gameplay videos and the previews. It's not like they weren't transparent. They were transparent with us on this game. They were letting us know everything about it. So we're not completely just, whoa. And I've done plenty of videos on it to prove it, and so on and so forth. They've been talking about it on Twitter all the time. You know, the proof is in the pudding. Of course, you can talk about all the bells and whistles, everything, you know, that you see is on the surface until you test drive it, just like an automobile on a car lot. They're just doing the marketing, so it's different when you're actually behind the wheel. So I'm hoping when I stream this tomorrow and play it, I'm just gonna have a great time. I know I'm gonna have a great time. I'm not hard to impress, but I understand disrespect when I see it. So, sped up battles and skippable encounters make archaic systems digestible. So when they mean archaic systems, what are they talking about? They're just talking about old school turn-based JRPGs, okay? Because that is a thing in the past that's been done countless times in the 90s, shoot, all the way through the 90s and the 2000s. And then, honestly, the last great turn-based game that I played in recent years, that came out in recent times, is Dragon Quest XI. Because I chose to go with classic JRPG, because I like that. I have patience for battles like that. But that's what they pretty much mean. And games back in the day were kind of slow. Final Fantasy IX, I love that game, favorite game of all time, favorite game. But it takes a year to load a fight. It takes so long, and it's a bit on the slower pace. Chrono Cross is kind of the same way, a bit on the slower side. It's not as fast as Chrono Trigger. Final Fantasy VII is quicker than Final Fantasy IX. It loads up quite faster, even though Final Fantasy VII, in the graphics department, there's not much to load to begin with, at least character model-wise. But I digress. So, if you're worried about dealing with that, well, there you go. You have options. Whether it be the best sped-up battles or skippable encounters of all time, I'll leave that up to you, but at least it's in there. Yoshinori Mitsuda's music never disappoints. That is a great thing. Now, people are always worried about what they've been hearing recently about the music. So, I'm going to say it here, and you can read it on Twitter, but his new music, his reimagined music, I did a video on it, the one before this, that music is only being in the main menu, okay? Only in the main menu. You will not hear that reimagined music when you're actually playing the game. Once you're past the main menu, never again. Now there is one brand new song that is added to the original soundtrack, but it's not taking over any other thing. It's not pushing any other track out to be replaced by this one. No substitutes. It's just an addition. So so you don't have to worry about that. And I'm pretty sure the reimagined music is going to go with the original song that played at the main menu anyway. If not, well, at least you get to hear that song in the original soundtrack anyway, because it plays. So the only thing that's changing in the original soundtrack is just ways to make it sound better, more clear, give it a bit more oomph, or it makes it sound more modern, or, sounds higher quality, because you're listening to a 90s soundtrack. It may not have transferred so well to today's standards. So that I'm okay with that, where they equalize it and make it sound, gets more oomph where it needs more oomph, or it needs to get more quieter at certain parts where it needed to. Anyway, you get what I'm trying to say. The music and the soundtrack are okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what they say about the joys. we already know my joy that this thing is even real. Done plenty of videos on it. The cons. Okay, this is also a thing I did. If you want to look up everything about this, you look up everything you need to know about Chrono Cross video that I've done. That talks a lot about the features, the deep dive. But I'm gonna do my best here. Okay, so the cons: remastered features aren't customizable. So, what are the remastered features? Changing the font, going to original font, going to remastered font, original portraits, going to remastered portraits, original graphics, going to remastered graphics, so on and so forth. And then you have the, yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the problem is that these review sites are having critics is that you can't just go changing one option and leaving the rest. Like if I just, for example, if I just want brand new graphics, right, remastered graphics, but I want everything else off or go to original, I can't do that. It's like one or the other, A or B, all remastered or all original, pretty much. That's, yeah, all remastered or not. And I guess people had a problem with that. At least we have the option to switch to the original or not. Some games you can't do that. Unless you're like Halo, right? Halo, it's a flick of a switch and you just go back and forth. But some games you can't do that. Sometimes you're stuck with shitty Secret of Mana remakes and you're with the most hideous, just disgusting way to do a remake of a game that had so much charm, which I don't really like Secret of Mana, but that pixel art was amazing and the soundtrack was great. And then well, just look up what the reviews have to say. It's a shame. So, at least we have an option. If you don't like the way it looks, you can go back to it. So that's what they're talking about here. A lack of remastered features in key areas. I'm not too sure what they mean by this. Maybe some of the areas could have been done a little bit better, treated a bit more respectfully. I don't know. Maybe things look more dated than other areas, which I can understand, and maybe we wish we had ways of tuning that. That's the best thing I can say. I do know that one of these articles talked about how we wish we didn't have to just go to the menu every time to change the settings and restart the game or something like that. I think that's a thing you have to do. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I read. People were just wanting like an off and on switch to do this, but there's not. It's, well, you know, like what you do in Halo. You just press the back button, right, or the select, and boom, here we go. Original graphics, new graphics. This one, you gotta go in the menu and change it yourself manually. But you kind of had to do that with Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, or at least the ones that, like Final Fantasy 9, you had to turn on no encounter mode, unlimited money or whatever, max money, max levels. You had to do that from the main menu too. But, I mean, you're not changing the graphics. But I'm just saying, you have to go to a menu to do it. You can't just do a flick of a switch or something. So, all screen resolution options feel inadequate. So, I also read that the 3 resolution modes don't do the game justice. They could have done a better job. I'm guessing some of them have to where it's cut off, because you get the 4:3, then you get the almost full screen, and then you get the full. There's the full screen, but it's like zoomed in too much. So it's kind of like changing the resolution on your monitor, right? How you want your wallpapers to look. Do you want it fill? Do you want it original? Or do you want it stretch, right? So I read that original is the best way to go with the borders. They're just saying that they could have just done a better job making it seem not so border. So that's a bummer, but I'm used to it with the old games because all these developers do that. They leave the borders in there. They just... But like I said, at least we have options to go through 3 of them, the 3 different ones. Maybe you'll find one that you like more. Let me know down in the comments below which one you pick. Now, this is the biggest thing that people have complaints about. Sometimes run sluggishly. Now, these guys who are reviewing this game have gotten review copies, right? They don't have the patch, the day 1 patch. Apparently there's 1 or 2 patches coming out when this game releases or gets close to release. That hopefully helps with the frame rate. I'm not too sure. I'm just going off from what these guys have said. So they are playing a pre-patched game. So maybe the optimization would be better with the frame rate, but I read that the Switch kind of suffers a little bit. It kind of loads pretty slow into fights, some frame rate drops and stuff. It kind of feels like you're playing the original game and there's no modern hardware being used. You know, it's like you're playing on the original PlayStation. So some of that might scare a lot of you away because they could have done a better job in optimization. I completely understand that, but see, I'm used to this game being slow. I'm used to these JRPGs, but maybe newcomers out there who want to just play, I want to get everything right away and not wait for have patience for anything. Well, I think playing a JRPG is not your forte, but if you're talking about, just dropping in, playing a battle royale like Fortnite or Call of Duty, where it's just says boom, boom, and you die or you kill someone, you go on to the next thing, yeah, it's not going to happen this time around. Unless you maybe fast forward mode? I don't know. But, yeah, I'm hoping that they do a better job with it and the patches do it justice. Okay, so that's pretty much the joys and cons. I know. This is a long video, but it's in the title discussion. Gave you the short version. This is the long version. So now we're back to where we were in the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, like I said to John Paul Hayward, who I've had on the Nico show, him and I both love Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. I actually like Chrono Cross more than Chrono Trigger. I know, sin, right? Unpopular opinion. But he and I are in the same boat when it comes to what we like about this game, how we're excited to go back into it, what this game meant to us when we played it back when we were kids, and, even if this is a lazy port, I would still recommend this game because guess what? It's still the same game. It just they could have just treated it a little bit better, made it a little bit more modernized, but you're still gonna get the same experience. You still get to play the brand new Radical Dreamers game that's never been released to me, especially in the States. You get to relive this classic adventure. You might have missed out on this game because you forgot that it existed, maybe because it's pretty much the black sheep of the Chrono family. Maybe you're just so obsessed with Chrono Trigger, now you're ready for something new, and you're like, oh crap, I can finally play Chrono Cross. Or maybe you just don't have your PlayStation anymore, as simple as that, and you're ready to give this game another shot, or be the first time, or, just playing it again. You're still gonna get to meet all these characters, listen to the fantastic soundtrack, see the new artwork, I recommend you guys playing with everything remastered just to get a proper idea of where these guys spent the most time in, just to see what it looks like. Try your best. See how long you can last by playing through the whole game remastered. Try your best, and then the second time you can play through, because this has one of the best New Game Pluses of all time, along with Dragon's Dogma. You can try the original look, But of course, you're gonna want to mess around. I get it. I'm gonna mess around too as well, but I'm gonna do my best to play the remastered because that's where the most work was put in. I say most work, but we'll have to wait and see. So I still think this is worth $20, okay? If they were charging $40, I'd be like, no, shame on you. But this is a great bargain because you're getting two games that are pretty much brought back from the dead. Whether you think it's the worst way of resurrecting a franchise or the best, it doesn't matter. The fact that it's here, it's here to stay, whether you like it or not. And from what you see from other gameplay videos, listen, you don't have to buy it. I'm going to buy it anyway because I love this game. And if it sucks, it sucks. If it's good, it's good, right? That's going to be and I'll let you guys know what my opinion is because we will do a Nico Show episode talking about how we felt about this Radical Dreamers edition. We'll get John back on the show, which would be great. Anyway, so let me know down in the comments below everything I've talked about, everything that we discussed, on how you feel about this. Are you hesitant now towards this because we've gotten reviews, we've gotten my input, and a little bit of a deep dive, blah, blah, blah. We have all the information at our fingertips now. So don't be so surprised when you play this game. If you have done the research, if you checked out my videos, you checked out the articles, what they said about it, you looked at Twitter, they've been transparent as hell about this game, okay? You can even watch Japanese people play the game, like it was like a Japanese gameplay video or something. You can watch them literally play the game so you can see what it looks like in action. Like just them normally playing the game instead of just like, let's edit here, jump cut here, all that crap. Chrono Cross is coming out tomorrow, guys, April 7th, 2022, and I can't wait to play it, and trust me, I will let you know how I feel about it. Just keep saying to yourself, Chrono Cross, oh my god, it's here. Chrono Cross, oh my god, it's here. It's finally releasing. It's finally releasing. It's coming out. It's coming out for every console. Just think of it, I'm not saying, have nostalgia glasses on the entire time, but just think about it. Just think about it for a second and give it a shot. And, I hope this works out well. I hope it sells well enough to where Chrono Cross finally gets the respect it deserves. If Square Enix is not going to give the respect it finally deserves, then, sorry, I had a moment there, then we're going to be giving it the respect it finally deserves, okay? The gamers, The consumers always do more talking than the creators and the publishers. We're the reasons why they want to keep making these games and keep putting money into it. So we'll do the talking and the walking and everything else. Anyway, Pathfinders, I've been your host, NikoTheLegend, also known as the Well-Mannered Teenager, the Snowflake, Rambling Idiot, and Vigil. And I hope you did enjoy this long version on discussion. However way I did it, I hope I helped a little bit. Listen, if you want more description of what I talk about, check out the recent videos before this. They will go into all the nitty-gritty. And I hope you do enjoy this timeless classic, whether you had a good time or not. Maybe you're giving it another shot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just hope you have a good time. That's it. That's it. And, you know, Square Enix, they'll pay one of these days. They'll pay one of these days where they won't get away with the consistency of doing lazy ports. But I actually think this is one of their not so lazy ports. Trust me. I mean, see my hands? They're creating bullshit. I don't know. So, folks, take care. And the comments, I hope they come alive. Take care.
I just want to die.